Israel Bonds is the U.S. underwriter of debt securities issued by the State of Israel, and more important, a primary tool used by diaspora Jewry to help fund the Jewish state in its times of greatest need. Now, during this Jewish high holiday season, which coincides with the one-year anniversary of the October 7 terror attack, Israel Bonds has initiated an Invest for Life campaign to rally global support for Israel. Joining us to talk more about that is the president and CEO of Israel Bonds, Dani Naveh. Dani, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Dani, it's now more than 1 year since the terror attack on October 7th. As I mentioned, Israel Bonds has been there for Israel in times of war, but this crisis has gone on longer, has grown wider than even anybody could have anticipated that. How has that impacted on Israel Bonds, on your mission, and how you've had to cope with that?
Well, if you allow me first, it's almost a year that has passed, as you mentioned, and we still struggle to comprehend the unimaginable atrocities committed on October 7th, and we ache for the hostages held in Gaza, to the brave soldiers who sacrificed their life, to the injured soldiers who would bear the scars of the war for the rest of their life. And Israel Bonds, as you have mentioned, for the last 7 decades, our mission is to secure funds for Israel. And we have raised more than $52 billion, ushering Israel into a vibrant startup nation during the years. Yet, since October 7th, our mission has felt more vital, urgent, emotional. And the silver lining is that October 7th has galvanized Israel Bonds supporters around the world like never before.
Right. Well, let's talk about that. How have they responded, and how has Israel Bonds used that help that has been given to Israel during this difficult past year?
On October 7th, on that day itself, we initiated a special campaign to support Israel. And I'm grateful and proud to share with you that since the war broke out, we have raised globally more than $3.6 billion for Israel. And these funds have been an essential lifeline in ensuring Israel's economy resilience. But these are not just financial statements. These are a strong statement of solidarity and support for Israel. And our investors understand that by investing in Israel Bonds, by purchasing bonds, they don't just get strong and steady return, but they build a bond with the state of Israel.
Right. Now let's look forward to you starting this new campaign, Invest for Life. Again, this crisis is going on longer than anyone could have thought. So now bonds, like everything else in this country, has to look forward and be prepared for a longer haul.
Yes, that's right. And as the war continued, we understand that we have to do more, and we can do more for Israel. And this is why we initiated that global campaign, Invest in Life campaign, inviting people to invest at least $107 in Israel Bonds. And by that, again, to make a very strong statement to the entire world that they support Israel.
Dani, for those who don't know, you have a long career in politics and diplomacy before going to Israel Bonds. You've served at the highest levels of government as a minister during some of the toughest times for Israel. I'm curious on a personal level how you perceive it now, and also from the position that you now occupy as the CEO of Israel Bonds.
From what I see Israel that has achieved more and more victories against its enemies. And as we all know, the toll is very heavy. And although the heavy toll, like we have seen just during the last few days, very heavy toll, although that, we see that the Israeli spirit is strong and steadfast and unbreakable. And when people from outside ask me about it, I would tell people, look, people in Israel understand that this is not just a war between Israel and Iran's proxy terrorist organizations. This is an existential war on the right of the Jewish state to exist. This is a war not just for the Jewish people and for the state of Israel, but for the entire civilization, because, for the Iranians, Israel is a little son and the United States is a big one. And if we stand together, I'm sure that our enemies would not prevail. And yet, it's not over. It's far from being over, as it looks right now. The state of Israel still needs us. And getting back to Israel bonds, the best way to make an impact today is by making an investment in Israel bonds and support the state of Israel at this critical time of need.
Right, and we've entered the new Jewish year. Of course, for Shana Tova, what's your final message then for those looking ahead and having to contend and deal with so much over the past year and trying to maybe be a little hopeful towards the new year?
It was a very tough year for all of us. You know, probably the darkest days since the Holocaust for the Jewish people. Yet, I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that we are going to prevail, and the Israelis are strong, and the state of Israel is strong. And it's stronger, much more stronger, thanks to the enormous support that the state of Israel has been receiving from all over, from the Jewish communities around the world and Israel supporters around the world. And I urge each and every one of our viewers, at this time of need, it's important for each and every one of you to support the state of Israel.
Right, and I do think one maybe silver lining, it has brought many Jews across the world in the diaspora closer to Israel.
Yes.
And seeing them as facing a common destiny and reinforcing
That's
that.
right, that's right.
Dani Naveh of Israel Bonds, thank you for joining us
Thank
on
you for
i24’s.
having me.